All right, everybody. Here we are again. Donald Trump's scheduled to have a coronavirus press briefing at the bottom of the hour, but there is news going on. And Donald Trump just recently held another event. I'm going to play a clip for you where Donald Trump said, oh, why are we at 12 new members, by the way? I'm starting in the wrong spot. Donald Trump said he will be deploying these paramilitaries to an additional city, the city of Chicago, Illinois. Why Chicago, I wonder? Wow, I can't imagine why. So the exact authoritarian prediction that I made Friday and then Monday and then Tuesday and again today, it's happening. It's happening. And this was a trial balloon in Portland, Oregon. It is now happening in Chicago. This is a vicious cycle, okay? I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a moment. But let's take a look at what Trump said just minutes ago.
Every American, no matter their income, their race, or their zip code, should be able to walk their city streets free from violence and free from fear. For this reason, today, I am announcing that the Department of Justice will immediately surge federal law enforcement to the city of Chicago. The FBI, ATF, DEA,
right.
U.S. Marshal Service, and Homeland Security will together be sending hundreds of skilled law enforcement officers to Chicago to help drive down.
Skilled law enforcement officers. What he means is camouflaged paramilitaries dressed more like they should be in a desert than in a city with unmarked vans. That's what we're talking about.
Violent crime. And murderers and violent criminals are breaking a wide range of federal laws. We have that. It's as wide as it can be.
Wide.
We will find them, arrest them, and prosecute them.
So listen, here's what's going on. And remember, we're still waiting for the press briefing is supposed to be about coronavirus, but no doubt there will be questions about this. And this is absolutely crazy. I have like 2 pages of notes here. Just kidding. These are prop notes. This is a blank piece of paper. I wouldn't really do that to you guys. But here is where this is a different. No, I'm kidding. The notes are digital notes, but let's imagine that I have my notes here and it's just pages and pages of notes about, there's the element of this, of the legality. Kayleigh McEnany cited an element of, I believe it's 40 U.S. Code 1315 or something like that. The number doesn't so much matter, but it's very specific in that these troops can be deployed to states to protect federal property. And that can mean 2 things: buildings owned by the federal government, or like if some local company rents a building to the federal government and the federal government has an office in that building, that would also count. When you get across the street or 3 blocks away or wherever, the authority doesn't go that far. And importantly, if you actually look up 40 U.S. Code 1315, you will see that it also says if they want to go anywhere beyond the federal property, they need to be working in concert with state and local authorities. The mayor of Portland doesn't want them there. Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, has said she doesn't want them there. So this legal case is hanging by a thread. That's number 1. Okay. Number 2. This is a strategy to create chaos. Okay. Here you might, I know some of you follow this stuff and some of you don't follow it as much. How is this useful to Trump getting reelected, right? That's the question that a lot of people are wondering. Here's the way it works. Donald Trump wants to make the case that he's for law and order and Joe Biden is not. That Joe is for abolishing the police. Joe Biden is not. In fact, there's people on the left who wish Biden were for abolishing the police, and they're mad that Biden is not for abolishing the police. Okay, so Trump's idea is, I am going to loudly talk about how the crime is out of control in, quote, liberal Democrat cities, and I'm going to send in troops. So what am I doing? I'm saying you're going to get more of this crime if Joe Biden is elected, but I'm the law and order guy. Now, it's going to have a secondary effect, which is the presence of these troops creates more escalations, which further allows Trump to justify deploying more troops and keeping them there up to and including through Election Day to intimidate voters, incite his own followers, pretext for questioning the how much you can trust the results of the election. So that's the idea here, okay? And of course, starts with Portland, expands to Chicago, and we're going to see it expand further. If we saw, well, not Trump, but if other presidents, if Obama had seen other countries doing this, he would have called it out. If George W. Bush had seen other countries doing this, he would have called it out. Our president, it's not just that Trump isn't calling it out, he's doing it. He's doing the thing, which is absolutely unconscionable. And it is this sort of circular firing squad of sorts, and using chaos to generate chaos, etc. So we'll see how much Donald Trump talks about this momentarily. Now, in the meantime, coronavirus is out of control. Yesterday, for the first time since June 2nd, I believe, let me look. So yesterday we had 1,119 deaths. You have to go back to June 2nd to find a day with more deaths than yesterday. Okay? So the idea that we're merely putting out embers now, we've basically won. No, that's not the case whatsoever. The numbers so far today, let's just refresh real quick. We are up to 48,000 new cases today, and again, 833 deaths. And as you can see here, many states have not even reported yet. A bunch of these states are blank, so we may once again be there. Now, you might have noticed that yesterday when I covered Donald Trump's first new era coronavirus press briefing, he was a sort of totally different Trump. You might remember that he said it could get worse before it gets better. That's not something Trump has ever said. He's been, we have 15 cases and it'll soon be zero. That's been Trump's approach. Yesterday, Trump said, I'm all about masks, 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 masks. That would have been a logical press conference on March 12th. And clearly somebody got to Trump. We know Trump recently got rid of Brad Parscale as his campaign manager and brought in Bill Stepien, one of the guys I think involved in the Bridgegate fiasco in New Jersey. And it's possible that Bill Stepien said, listen, I'll do this, but you've got to listen to me. You might notice that as of earlier today, Trump hadn't even tweeted. Let's see. Twitter, real Donald Trump. Let's see where he was. Okay, so now he's kicking it back up, but he went all day other than publishing his own clips from recently. As you can see here, he published that. Okay. And so he had this one tweet today. So Trump only tweeted 7 times today, and only one of them was a tweet like this. For Trump, that's not very much. But clearly this is a different Trump, and it's a Trump that's acting out of desperation. So that's what's going on as far as that goes. What else did I want to get to before we keep going? So this is scheduled for the bottom of the hour, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, and hopefully it starts on time. I mean, you never know with these things. It's very, very much unpredictable. I do want to thank Min Vikings for subscribing over on Twitch, and also Christopher Robin, who is now subscribed for 3 months via Twitch Prime. Very much appreciated. I'm Inconsolable, still the top gifter on Twitch, has gifted 400 subscriptions on Twitch, an unbelievable, powerful number. We do have super chats coming in. If you're just joining me on YouTube, as 8,000 of you currently are, you can, of course, hit the like button. You can, of course, subscribe to the channel for free, but you can communicate with me via the super chat function. Those messages will pop up in the bottom left of the screen. A few super chats that came in. Unknown Prodigy says, more important than all this, though, David Castle early to win. Yes, you might have seen yesterday my live stream with Alexandra Botez teaching me some chess. That'll be published to YouTube tomorrow at, I think, 3 p.m. Mike Literos, come on. David, you have begun brainstorming ideas. Have you begun brainstorming ideas for your 1 millionth subscriber show? What can your fans expect? So my original goal was 1 million subscribers by Election Day, and it really did not seem like it was going to happen. And recently we were on target for January 4th, 1 million subscribers on YouTube. The last 2 weeks have been so crazy. We're on track to hit that again in 2020. So no plans yet. It's still far away. We've got so much going on daily that I have not had time to think about that. Jacob Ratner says, how do we fight bad faith arguments from Trump's feds? For Trump's feds. Well, fight him with the facts and check. I have a lot of clips on that, so I'm not going to go into the details now. But we have to understand the reality of the legality of these paramilitaries. Waffles Giraffle says, "What could go wrong with federal troops in more cities?" Yeah, of course. Matt Chavez says, "Creating a false flaggish operation, perhaps." Well, again, the idea is claim that you need to send in the troops because it's too chaotic, but sending in the troops causes more chaos. That's the idea. Sam Dean says, "G'day, Dave. South Australia is threatening 2 years prison for illegal state border crossings in new lockdown rules. $4,000 fine in Victoria." Okay. Erdling says it's the dress rehearsal for what we can expect if Trump loses in November. I don't believe that is completely wrong. I don't believe that that's completely wrong. I think there is very much something to that. Joseph Dinsies says, "Hey, David, what's your opinion on the Fernet con cola? In my opinion, I don't get the appeal. If you don't like Fernet con cola, what drinks do you like?" Yeah, I am more of a fan. Being Argentinian, of course, it's almost mandatory that I like Fernet. I do like Fernet, but I don't drink soda. So Fernet and Coke is not my thing. I just prefer Fernet on the rocks. I see people on Twitch asking why YouTube chat is disabled. Clearly, it's not. I'm reading chats literally as we speak. Nickelodeon says, "David, how can this deployment of force be an election strategy? Almost everyone reasonable objects." Okay, I was probably explaining that when you sent that super chat, so I won't re-explain it. Thank you to The Mall for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Beautiful things are happening on Twitch, in fact. We're approaching 40,000 followers on Twitch, which is exciting. Very, very exciting. Let me say a few thank yous. Jared Kumentis is new member number 1 today at joinpacman.com. I appreciate that. We are now live in the room. That's a good sign. Jordan Slayton is new member number 2 today at joinpacman.com. And Peter Cates. Hey, Peter. Peter's new member number 3. And I believe that's it. Oh, Sam Dean. Sam Dean from Australia is new member number 4 today at joinpacman.com. The room slowly filling in. If you're just joining us, Donald Trump announcing very, very recently that if YouTube chat looks disabled to you, just refresh, okay? Donald Trump just recently announcing that he will be sending paramilitaries to the city of Chicago, and that's going to be it's going to be something. Kristen Whitaker says, "Keep it up." Emmanuel Kant says, "Who do you think will be the face of the progressive movement when it comes to electoral politics?" I've been asked that a lot. I don't know. Sinful Solutions says, "Urgently smash the like button very strongly." I approve that message. Sean McCracken says, "Please say hi to my mother, Kathy, and wife, Rainey. The whole family loves your journalism. Thank you. Also, unmute me on Twitter." Okay, I have no idea about the Twitter thing. I do have probably 5,000 people muted on Twitter. That is true, but I don't know anything about Sean McCracken. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Rainey. Very much appreciate your support. Obrero13 says, "ILWU, Local 13 in the house." Johnny Minogue. "Hey, David, did you ever go tubing down the Deerfield River when living in Western Mass? That's the best summer activity out there." You know, I have not. I have not. A big thank you from Kristen Whitaker. Kevin Mayer says, "This is about making Democratic-run cities look weak." It's about making Democratic-run cities look weak, and it's about making Joe Biden look weak. I see people on Twitch asking to be taken off of shadow ban, but clearly they are not banned since they are sending messages actively. I love that. Connor Zittrauer says, "David, what can we expect from Trump during his lame duck period if he is not reelected?" It's anyone's guess. We can expect anything from Trump goes into a shell and we just don't see him during those 2.5 months, all the way to widespread deployment of paramilitaries nationally. It's anyone's guess, quite frankly. Anything could happen. Paratiran has, "Hi, David, and all mates watching." Yes. Evan says, "I'm in downtown Portland right now. It's a beautiful and well-functioning city. We're used to protests in the Pacific Northwest." Donna Williams says, "Thanks, David. Love your commentary." Johnny Bishop, Trump tried to start a war with North Korea and Iran without success. I never thought he would start a war on ordinary Americans. I love the show from the UK. Yes, many people recognizing that Trump's idea, it's not even Trump's idea, this idea generally of a military conflict to justify one's own reelection, typically it's deployed internationally. Donald Trump is deploying it domestically, which is quite stunning. Let me say thank you to Dashmoopy for subscribing at tier 1 over on Twitch. Beautiful. Absolutely love that. William Oliver says, thank you for your help getting through this crappy year. I can always count on you for excellent points. Thank you. Fanatic says, what will be the state of Republican politics post-Trump? So I have a story today on my YouTube. Hold on, let me pull up YouTube. I accidentally pulled up my OnlyFans, but I'm trying to pull up YouTube. The story is called The Future of the That's a joke, by the way. The Future of the American Right. And I take about 15 minutes and talk about exactly that issue. That clip is publishing actually in 4 minutes. So I'm addressing that momentarily. By the way, I don't actually have an OnlyFans. People asked me to make one, but I have a Cameo instead, and I'm getting a bunch of requests on there. How many requests have I gotten on Cameo? Let me see. I actually have to turn some down because they're inappropriate. 49. Okay, so I've gotten 49 requests on Cameo. Yeah, I've turned down, I think it's like 3 or 4, because they were things I looked up and they're like, white supremacist code or stupid stuff where I know someone wants to take it out of context, stuff I don't even know. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm not doing. And it's just not, come on, let's try to be adults. And I know not everybody in the chat are adults. That's okay. But let's at least behave like adults. Very powerful $100 super chat from Jacob Ball. Jacob has been around for a long time and is a great supporter. Hey, Jacob. I, for one, am shocked that our leftist friends like Tim Pool are for this. I thought the First Amendment was what gave them no choice but to defend the right because they were so principled about it being violated by private corporations. First Amendment doesn't apply to our government. I guess I don't know what Tim Pool has been saying, quite frankly. So I would not be able to comment on that. But it is certainly an interesting comment. Okay, Daniel Bonilla, or Bonicia, as we would say in Argentina, says in Spanish, puedes pausar el video en lugar de enmudecer, gracias. So what Daniel is asking for is for me to pause rather than mute the video when I want to interject. We've gone back and forth about this many times, and the consensus was that we would fall so far behind live if we do that, that people weren't liking the idea. But, it's certainly something that could be explored. Let me say thank you to Olivia and Gabe Cordova for signing up at joinpacman.com. They are, I guess, together, new members. Number 5. Sounds weird to say new member, even though there's 2 of them. But what can you do? I will just extremely briefly, we've been doing, so these like 90 to 120 minute streams. I'm taking 1 minute to talk about membership and then not mentioning it again. And it's going really, really well. Our program where we do an hour podcast and the YouTube clips, we'll take live calls once a week, anywhere from 1 to 3 streams a day. Yesterday we had 3 streams. It's all mostly funded by website memberships at joinpacman.com. There's all these different things you can sign up for, Twitch and YouTube and all this stuff. The most important revenue source for us is website membership. Anybody who signs up during the stream, I'll give you a beautiful thank you and shout out. We have a coupon code there, 2020 now, which is a great savings. But this month, we have an unpublished coupon code, July Surprise. Okay? Now, that's all lowercase. That's the little letters. No spaces. July Surprise. This thing, Kim Jong-un would kill family members for less than a coupon code this significant. I know that that's harsh, but this is a crazy coupon code. And we are sort of trying to dig out from a lot of people who have unfortunately had to cancel because of the virus. And I get what's going on. A lot of people, financial instability, people are canceling. I don't take it personally. It's okay. But if you are someone who can throw $1.80 a month or $2 a month at a membership at joinpacman.com, please do, and you get a bunch of great perks. And I will thank you. That's the most important thing. Like, for example, who am I going to thank? Michael Quintanilla, who is new member number 6 today at joinpacman.com. Okay, let's continue with some of these super chats coming in. Actually, first, let me say thanks to Dorvana 1967 and Joe in a Box for subscribing over on Twitch. Dr. Rain says this phony Trump won't last. There is no way he can hold this pattern of minuscule morality for very long. And even if he could, it's too damn late. That's my view. That's my view. Kevin Ganser says, what activities are keeping you busy during the pandemic? Gardening. You should see my zucchinis. I bought a zucchini plant that was essentially 3 leaves that are Sharpie sized. Okay? Bought it, planted the thing. It has taken over. I have about 25 zucchinis that now are growing. One of them is at least 10 inches. And I should do another garden tour. Maybe I'll do that if we have a goal of 25. Maybe if we get to 50 members right after this is done, I'll go out and film a new garden tour. My cukes are out of control. My cucumbers are like nothing I've ever seen before. I've got 75 or 80 tomatoes that are in the ripening process. Mint has completely, I know mint is invasive, so I have mint in its own pot. It's completely taken over. It's outrageous what my mint is doing. And soon I'm going to be powerfully harvesting some of these zucchinis. It's outrageous, outrageous. I've never seen zucchini do this. And then, biking, running. I'm in this PogChamps 2 chess tournament on chess.com next month. So I've been training from the standpoint of chess as well. Okay, if you're just joining us, by the way, we are standing by for Donald Trump's press briefing scheduled for 2 minutes ago. Donald Trump, about an hour ago, announcing he is going to be deploying these federal paramilitaries to the city of Chicago, exactly as I predicted yesterday and the day before and last Friday. That's happening. I anticipate some questions about that. If you are just joining us on YouTube, please consider pressing the like button, not a big ask, and pressing the subscribe button. We shockingly, I don't even know how this happened. We're only 9,000 subscribers away from 900,000, which is just, it's insane. It's absolutely and utterly insane. Daniel Rivera says, urgently, thank you, David. Urgently, keep it up. Urgent. Thank you. Josh Flagg says, why have we stopped talking about Trump's tiny infant hands? I was never talking about that, so you'd have to talk to someone who's been following that story. Paul says, can you say hello to my friend Henry? Hey, Henry. Great to see you. Hunter Reed says, Blake Richardson from the band Between the Buried and Me subbed to you yesterday. Absolutely incredible drummer. You should check out sometime. I would love to do that. Thank you for the support. Minx Johansson says, sending love and hope from Australia. Appreciate that. Honey Dog says, for Michael Brooks. Yes, indeed. Check out my video, The Tragic Death of Michael Brooks. We talked about that extensively yesterday, and there's really a lot to say about it for sure. Jacob Ball, thank you for the $100 super chat. I already dealt with Jacob Ball's comment. Whoa, what happened there? Hold on. Sean Bauman says, support the protesters in Portland. They need your help. Patrick Forney says, Trump is a fascist. Stay strong from Switzerland. A fascist, I'm sure is what you meant. Although that's an interest. It's almost like a Faucist. I wish Trump were a Faucist, a follower of Dr. Fauci. He's not. He's not, sadly. Miles Kaufman says, if some left-wing people are still never Biden at this point, despite COVID and protests, is it worth convincing them Biden is better at this point? It's always worth it. There's something very interesting. I got a phone call from a friend the other day, and he actually may be watching. And he told me, David, there are some never Biden people, formerly never Biden people, who have taken Trump's reaction to the George Floyd protests, the threats to send in the military, now actually sending in the military, it has served as a reasonable, credible escape pod was the word that he used, which I think is perfect, where there were some of these early Never Biden people when Bernie lost that were saying, I'm not doing Biden unless he goes Medicare for all or something, which we knew he wouldn't do. And of course, it's gotten so bad that now Trump's authoritarian reaction to the protests has served as a reasonable enough escape pod for them to say, listen, I still am very unsure about Biden, but I've got to vote for him because of what Donald Trump is doing. I don't care how they get to it. As long as they get to it, that's really what matters. How did I even get to that? Oh, Miles' super chat. Right. Very good. Chad Lightning says, how would you respond to people who use Larry Elder and Thomas Sowell as basis for their arguments and ignoring reality? Well, Larry Elder and Thomas Sowell are two dramatically different people. They occupy different spaces. Larry Elder, I've never found compelling. Thomas Sowell actually can make some compelling economic arguments that I don't find completely convincing, but I find important. Like, for example, Thomas Sowell has some interesting takes on affirmative action that I don't hear them and go, wow, everything I believed is wrong, but they're important to at least understand. And so I wouldn't put them in the same category. Thomas Sowell, I think, is, if you want to sort of bone up on right-wing economics, I think Thomas Sowell is someone you should look at. Larry Elder, I've never found any particular interest in. William Van Buskirk says, hey, David, love your stuff. Did you see Dave Rubin and Michael Knowles did a book review of 1984? It's really bad. Don't watch it. Yeah, I saw that Dave Rubin said that in 1984, what they needed was a Trump. Yeah, that's what he said. Let me say it again. Rubin said when he read 1984, if he did, I don't know. I don't know how you could actually read it and come away with this idea, but when you read 1984, if they had had a Donald Trump come in, it would have fixed the situation. I feel like an idiot even explaining to you what was said. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay, let's get off of that topic. Let me thank a few other people. P. Tatlock is new member number 7 today. Daniel Kraus is new member number 8. Oliver Bostridge is new member number 9. Stephanie Peckinpah or Peckinpah is new member number 10. Luis Morales is new member number 11. Matzo ball soup, beautiful, is number 12. Shalom. Racine Miller is new member number 13. Who am I missing here? Sandra Emmert is new member number 14. Kathy Warner is number 15, and Amber Payette is number 16 today. I know I'm missing some folks, but I will get back to thank yous. You haven't missed anything if you're just joining us. Donald Trump scheduled for a press briefing 9 minutes ago, and the room is relatively full, and it seems reasonable that we would see Donald Trump arrive soon. Thanks to Epic Spawner for subscribing for the 7th month in a row on Twitch. We do now have a hype train going on Twitch. Yesterday, we only got to level 1. Like, we started the hype train. The hype train was rolling out of the station, and then it was very, very brutally interrupted. So we have 4.5 minutes to get to level 2, and we will soon see if we're able to do that. Weguetric says, from the standpoint of COVID, will we start seeing falsified numbers now that the CDC is no longer covering cases? 360, no scope, the like button. Yeah, this is a fair question. So it's like now when we look at these numbers, let's update and see where we are today. 48,000 new cases today, 845 deaths. Can we trust these numbers? I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. There were some states from which we probably couldn't even trust the numbers before. And we had anecdotal allegations that the numbers were not trustworthy. But I mean, at this point, I believe the numbers are even less trustworthy. And if that's the case, they're even worse than we're being told. Let's see here. Thanks to a whole bunch of people over on Twitch getting us to level 2 of the hype train. Justin Winchester says, love your show. Can you guide me on some people talking about educational progressive policies? Seems like a hole that I can't find much talking about. I'm not sure who I would recommend on educational policy. I'd have to think about that. That's not, one of the things I try to do is if I don't know much about a particular area, I don't pretend to know. I find no interest in doing that. Education has never been my strongest suit. So I'll have to think about that. Brainstew asks, could self-deprecating humor be a good strategy for dropping Trump's guard and causing him to tailspin in live events? For example, Chris Wallace saying his son thinks he's obnoxious. They both laughed. Yeah, I mean, listen, I try everything with Trump. I sort of take a try anything mentality. We are now on level 3 of a hype train. Very exciting things happening, including a cheer of 666 bits from Falsaris, which is crazy. Waffles Giraffles says, I read a Trumpist chat. Is it satire or the abyss? I don't believe the right really understands satire. Remember, years ago, I think it was Fox News, they decided to kind of give their answer to The Daily Show with then Jon Stewart. And they had a show called, I think, The Half Hour News Hour. It was the most unfunny thing you could imagine. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know that the right really gets satire. You know, they complain, oh, SNL and all these shows, they're all left wing. The right, the right doesn't understand satire. Just look at interviews at a Trump rally. You very quickly learn they don't understand satire. Thanks to Viper Bear for gifting 20 subscriptions on Twitch. That pushes us to level 4 on the hype train. We have not been at level 4. No, we're at level 5. Wait, no, we've completed. We have completely completed. We have won. We did it. Level 4 was absolutely destroyed. We are on a level 5 hype train and have exceeded and gone above and beyond that. If you're on YouTube and you feel like you're missing out, you are, but you can join the party by hitting that like button. Pop Stackles says, here's my monthly contribution to my favorite media source. Thank you, David. You're sure you didn't mean to send money to Michael Knowles, right? I hope not. That wasn't a mistake. Cool Drop says, can you please speak up? Wait, is this Cool Drop who calls in from China? Because we have a caller named Cool Drop who is an American guy, I believe, teaching English in China. I don't know if this is the same person. Can you please speak about the genocide of Afros from your home country of Argentina? I recently learned more about what is happening. What is happening, I don't know about. But yes, Argentina has a long racist history when it comes to black folks, and it is very ugly. And I've talked about it a little bit on the program. Thanks to Marxist Leninist for the subscription on Twitch, as well as Sid, Bear Was Dead, Middle-Aged Metal Feminist, Sheep Book, and Autofill My Username. Wow. Wow. Marvin Cotton says, why didn't Chris Wallace or yesterday's briefing drill Trump on Russian bounties in Afghanistan? Yeah, I recently tweeted whatever happened with those Russian bounties. And I think it would be great to push Trump on it. I think he'll just say he doesn't know anything about it. I think that's the way it would go. Thanks to Rodeo for subscribing, as well as Alistair Colwell. Phil Roth says, when voting for the lesser of two evils, considering Biden's actions led to 7 wars, how is Trump worse than Biden has more blood on his hands? Oh, come on. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I have multiple clips about this. And I have a hard time even believing that that's a serious question. It's a me Malario says, can a president get fired? Yes, we can fire him in November. Thanks to S. Burr for the subscription. Carl Smith says, hi, David. I live in the UK and got a membership via your website last month to help support your channel and the good work you are doing. Keep it up. Thank you. Thanks to Jen Gazo for the Alpha subscription. Jamal Swift says, hey, David, hey, homie, did you see the new Trump campaign ad depicting a police officer being attacked by protesters? It's actually a video from 2014, a photo of pro-democracy protests in Ukraine. Yes, I did see that. I may talk about it tomorrow, in fact. We are standing by for a coronavirus press briefing from Donald Trump. We are expecting ungodly sums of propaganda. I mean, just ungodly. We have hit 500% level 5 hype train on Twitch. We have never done that before. 30 seconds to go. We have never reached 500%, ever, ever, ever. It's absolutely stunning. Looks like 20 seconds to go. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 500%. 540%, it looks like. 600%. Oh my goodness, things are going completely crazy. I don't even, this feels like it has to be illegal, right? Like that can't be illegal. Jazzpour Garcia sends a super chat. E.B. Pryor says, hey, D, do you know if there are any rules stopping a former president from joining the Supreme Court? There are none. There are none. Connor Zitrower says, favorite bands or artists? Oh, there's so many. I couldn't possibly name even a few. But my musical tastes are quite widespread. The way I like to describe it is mostly everything other than country and heavy metal. Country and heavy metal is not my thing. Sam Kareem says, post your zucchinis on OnlyFans, right? I don't know if that's a euphemism, but I will potentially do, I'll post my zooks and cukes a little bit later. Let me see here. Where did I leave off? Okay. Friendly Fire Za says, oh, I think that's South, Z-A-R. Okay. Thank you for being a consistent voice of reason in this new era of excess information and misinformation. Cheers from South Africa. Thank you. Alberto Baragnano says, we will miss you in Galicia this summer. Yes, I have family in northwestern Spain. Beautiful area. I was planning to be there this summer, but because of the Trump virus, as Nancy Pelosi is calling it, Trump COVID-20 is another way to describe it. I am not going to be able to be there. Such great seafood in Galicia. Last time I was there, I was in Santiago. I was in, where else was I? I was in Esteiro. I drove over into Portugal and went to Porto. It was just great. It's just such a great area. Totally different. Totally different than, Barcelona and Madrid and the more touristy areas, as we call them. Hopefully soon, Alberto. Pat Needham says, David, what are your favorite elements of medical? That's a really good question. I don't know. Coronavirus vaccines are my favorite elements of medical. Jessica Russell chiming in. Aralis says, David, can you reach out to Vaush for a debate/interview? Okay, I can look into that. Not super familiar. Name withheld says, can you shout out my cat, Katina? Yes, absolutely. All beings are welcome and cats are fine. By the way, oh, this is a funny thing. A little while ago, I got a video of a Portuguese dog watching my show. Now, I don't mean a Portuguese water dog, the breed. I mean literally a Portuguese dog in Portugal that whenever their owner watches the show, the dog perks up and is just focused right in on me. So if you have video of your pet watching the David Pakman Show, please get it to us. You can use the contact form on my website. Because we love publicizing that. Dogs in particular, but we would accept cats or someone had a weasel that liked the show, but it felt a little bit off color. So we didn't necessarily make a huge deal out of a weasel liking the show, but certainly dogs and cats. Soldier of Science says, I saw your chess match yesterday. Your coach was pretty amazing. Yes, I have been in training with Levi Rosman, Eric Rosen, and Alexandra Botez. I've been posting the lessons to YouTube after the fact. And you can find them. And, I think it's going to be a great tournament coming up. Thanks to Tom Adams for signing up. Ninjax says, hi, Dave, a long time no see. Do you think the secret police are there to instigate a violent response so Trump can refute the election? Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, I had a more detailed explanation at the top of the stream. But yeah, that's the gist, I would say, of what it's for. Norman Sparks says, thoughts on the idea that COVID was actually designed and whatever country did so was relying on the stupidity of Americans to spread it. Yeah, I've seen no evidence of that. Travis Camacho says, please say hi to my best friend, Gary. We are both over this clown in office, this guy here, and we need him to go. Absolutely. Let's listen in. Actually, let's just switch over to the White House feed now, because when Fox goes commercial, I don't really like it. We'll be 10 seconds behind, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. Thanks to Boy Meets Minnie, by the way, and NetDaddy for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Appreciate that. Beast Casually as well. Also, Wife for the Win and Crypto Cat. Here is the Mango Menace, the Tangerine Terror, Adolf Hitler. Let's take a listen. Adolf Twitler, sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Today, my administration reached a historic agreement with Pfizer to produce and deliver 100 million doses of their vaccine immediately following its approval. Hopefully, the approval process will go very quickly, and we think we have a winner there. We also think we have other companies right behind that are doing very well in the vaccines, long ahead of schedule. As part of Operation Warp Speed, this agreement will also ensure that we receive an additional 500 million doses shortly thereafter. This is another crucial step in our effort to develop, manufacture, and distribute a vaccine in record-breaking time, really a very small fraction of the time based on previous schedules.
No thanks to Trump.
I want to thank the FDA. I want to thank everybody involved. It's been an incredible process.
Trump's been not a part of that.
As discussed yesterday, the China virus poses the greatest threat to our senior citizens, as we all know. The median age for those who die from the virus is 78 years old, and nearly half of the deaths have occurred among those living in nursing homes or long-term care facilities. That's really something. In other words, approximately half of the fatalities have occurred among less than 1% of the U.S. population. So think of that, less than 1%, half of the fatalities.
Less than one.
So we know what to look for. From the beginning, we have made it our top priority to shelter our seniors.
He said the same thing yesterday.
In early March, we announced guidelines suspending all medically unnecessary visits to nursing homes and prioritized resources for those facilities.
Notice Trump dropping
and we gave it a very strong priority. FEMA has sent shipments to many different locations of protective equipment, and it's going directly to 15,400 Medicaid and Medicare certified nursing homes throughout the country. Today, I'd like to provide an update on the additional actions we've been able to take, and they've been very constructive. First, we're requiring increased testing of the nursing home personnel in states where you had the worst outbreaks. All personnel will be tested at the highest level. Right, we're distributing 15,000 rapid point-of-care diagnostic devices to support this effort. These are the tests where it takes 5 minutes to 15 minutes. They're very accurate. They're very good. And we're sending them all over the country. And over 600 devices will be also shipped this week to additional facilities. Second, HHS will be distributing an additional $5 billion from the Provider Relief Fund to all nursing homes. Nursing homes in higher risk areas will be receiving more funding.
He seems barely awake.
This money can be used to address critical needs, including the hiring of additional staff, increasing testing, and providing technology support so residents can connect their families, and they can connect to their families. They are having a tremendous time. They want to be with their loved ones. They can't do it. So what we're doing is we're working it so that we can connect, have them connect with their families if they're not able to visit. Third, we've been identifying especially high-risk nursing homes and sharing that information with the governors so that the governors and their staffs can take appropriate action. We're able to find, because of the testing programs and other means, we're able to find certain areas that are very high risk. The governors can then take action. Additionally, CMS, CDC, and the U.S. Public Health Service are providing enhanced technical assistance and support, including visits to the highest risk nursing homes. And that's their priority right now. Nursing homes, but the highest risk nursing homes. CMS and CDC are implementing a national training program focused on infection control for those nursing homes that need it most. And we have them surveyed, and we have them mostly pinpointed. Over the past few months, we've created a surveillance system to detect outbreaks, and currently 99% of all nursing homes are reporting directly to it. So we have
Is the
great
system
data.
detecting anything? Because we're
When a
having
nursing
65
home has
data.
3 or more cases, we alert the state and make sure that it responds very quickly. We check on it, make sure they respond very quickly. I want to send a message of support and hope to every senior citizen who has been dealing with the struggle of isolation in what should be the golden years of your life. We will get to the other end of that tunnel very quickly, we hope. The light
is the new Trump.
starting to shine. We will get there very quickly. But we send our love, we send a message of love. Very important. We're with you all the way. As far as the outbreak in the Sun Belt, I said yesterday we continue to vigorously combat the rise of
Vigorously.
cases in the South and Southwest and the West. We're closely monitoring and aggressively acting to control the infection in Texas, Arizona, California, Florida. Arizona is starting to come down. Done a very good job. They're all doing a good job. They're very talented people.
Incredible talent.
There are likely a number of causes for the spike in infections.
Yes, we know.
Cases started to rise among young Americans shortly after demonstrations, which you know very well about, which presumably triggered a broader relaxation of mitigation efforts nationwide, and a substantial increase in travel also was a cause. Increased gathering on holidays such as Memorial Day, as well as young people closely congregating at bars and probably other places, maybe beaches, 4 or 5 different
This
listed
would have been logical 4 months ago.
listed on the guide, likely also contributed. We're also sharing a 2,000-mile border with Mexico, as we know very well, and cases are surging in Mexico, unfortunately. It's with the president. And
So remember, he's been saying no one's coming over the border because the border's so strong. Now he seems to be again going back to, some of those southern states having trouble because of that border with Mexico.
257 miles of newly constructed wall along the southern border has had a great positive impact on people coming in. And we have record low numbers of people coming in illegally. That's helped greatly. It was
Okay.
really meant for a different purpose, but it worked out very well for what we're doing right now and for the pandemic. Nationwide, beyond the outbreak in several states, cases remain low and very stable. 19 states have positive test rates of less than 5%. 8 states have positive test rates of less than 2%. Our nationwide positive test rate is beginning to decline and is currently at 8.8% compared to over 16% at its peak in April. It's coming down. It's coming down fairly rapidly. Today, we surpassed, first time, we surpassed 50 million tests. That's far more
For the first
than
time.
any country in the world.
We're going to
India
surpass it again tomorrow.
is second, we believe. We think 1.4 billion people. That's about 12 million tests. We have 50 million tests. We're working with every state to ensure the supply of remdesivir for early case intervention and steroid treatment and various other treatments for those that are seriously ill. We're working very closely with hospitals, doctors, nursing homes, everybody. The remdesivir has proven to be terrific. Our case fatality rate continues to decline, and we want to push this rate even lower. The therapeutic research continues daily on new and very promising treatments, including antibody treatments and the use of blood thinners and steroids. A lot of different things are happening, and a lot of things are coming out that we wouldn't have known a number of months ago. We're doing tremendously well on therapeutic research and tremendously well on the vaccines. And frankly, therapeutically, or maybe a word even beyond that word is cure, would be the best of all, and we'll see what happens. But that would be great if we could go into the hospital and just cure people. And we're at a position where we're actually able to to a certain extent with what we have right now, and we think that in a very short period of time we'll be able to do that. Our strategy is to shelter the highest risk Americans
What do
while
doctors
allowing younger and healthier citizens to return to work or school while being careful and very vigilant. Wear a mask, socially distance, and repeatedly wash your hands. Practice very, very good sanitary means. You have to do this. You have to you have to look at it differently. Wash
we
your
hear
hands
from a
often.
doctor?
I'm finding more and more people are saying wash your hands. So wash your hands. We want young Americans to avoid packed bars and other crowded indoor gatherings, and we're all in this together.
Just say they should be closed.
And as Americans, we're going to get this complete. We're going to do it properly. We've been doing it properly. Sections of the country come up that we didn't anticipate. For instance, Florida, Texas, etc.
Yeah, Florida was a real shock
But
that it went crazy
we're
there.
working with very talented people, very brilliant people, and it's all going to work out, and it is working out. So with that, I'll take a few questions, please.
Here we go.
Mr. President, I just want to ask you a question about the surge of federal agents to various cities.
Yeah.
The
Here we go.
mayor of Chicago just said moments ago that you're doing this to divert attention from your failures on coronavirus. You are only targeting
But we
cities.
haven't had that failure.
You are only targeting cities, though, run by
haven't
Democrats.
failed?
Is
What?
this just a political stunt?
Nasty.
Yeah, the cities, unfortunately, that are in trouble are all run by Democrats. You have
Cities
radical
tend
left
to be run by
running
Democrats.
cities like Chicago and so many others that we just had a news conference. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. I mean, that's the facts. When you look at Chicago and you look at the job, Mayor Lightfoot sent me a letter yesterday, and I think in their own way they want us to go in. There'll be a time when they're going to want us to go in full
She said,
blast.
"Do not
but right
come in."
now we're sending extra people to help. We're arresting a lot of people that have been very bad as far as the coronavirus, as you say. I think we've done some amazing things, and I think you'll probably see that.
We are one of
if
the
you
worst in the
compare
world.
our statistics to other countries, and if you look at death rates, et cetera, you're going to see, and especially into the future with what's happening, you're going to see some very, very
We have the 10th highest
impressive
deaths
numbers
per
for the
capita.
United States. John, please.
Just to follow up on that.
Go ahead,
real
John.
quick.
Mr. President, do you plan to do a national strategy to help schools reopen and reopen safely?
Oh, yeah.
And regarding the children in your family, your son, your grandchildren, are you comfortable? Do you plan to have them back in person in school
Yeah,
this
well, I
fall?
am comfortable with that. And we do have a national strategy, but as you know, ultimately it's up
Strategy.
to the governors of the states. I think most governors, many governors, want the schools to open. I would like to see the schools open, especially when you see statistics like this. We have great statistics and on young people and on safety. So we would like to see schools open. We want to see the economy open. We just had a report, literally as I walked in, that we set an all-time record on housing price increases, up, I think they said 21%, which is a record that's never happened before. That's
What?
a great
Home
sign. We have
values are up 21%?
an economy
What
that's
is he-
gonna
how
be
is that even
booming.
remotely
It's going to be, a lot of
possible? What is he
jobs are being
talking about?
produced. The job numbers will be coming out shortly, meaning over the next
21%
week or so. And I think it'll
price
be a
increase?
continuation of
What?
the last 2 months. The last 2 months have been incredible. So I think we're going to have a great economy. You're going to have a fantastic next year. I think you're going to have a very good third quarter, actually, when the third quarter numbers come out. Interestingly, they'll be announced just before the election. They'll be announced around November 1st. So, yeah, I would like to see the schools open 100%, and
Open
we'll do
wide.
it safely. We'll do it carefully. But when you look at the statistics I just read having
Struggling
to do
with that word, huh?
children and safety, they're very impressive. They have very strong immune systems.
But you would understand that the children who go to school, then go back to home, they're with, some live with their grandparents,
Sure.
that there's a real risk. Would you understand if some
Well, they
schools...
do say that they don't transmit very easily, and a lot of people are saying they don't transmit,
Oh,
and
boy.
we're looking at that. We're studying, John, very hard.
Oh, God,
that
here we go.
particular subject, that they don't bring it home with them. Now, they don't catch it easily. They don't bring it home easily, and if they do catch it, they get better fast. We're looking at that fact. That is a factor.
looking
and
at that
very
strongly, yeah.
strongly. We'll be reporting about that over the next week. Please.
Mr. President, at least three governors today came out with new orders on mask requirements.
Yeah.
Is that something you wish all the governors would do? Is that
Well, a lot of the governors, they have different requirements. Some of the governors are very strong on masks, others aren't.
Some are strong
I
on
think
masks.
it's really going to ultimately be up to them. We've given them the facts. We've given them
Oh, my
everything we
God.
know. They have their own facts. Some are strong on masks, and as you know, some aren't.
Some are
In the
strong on
same
masks.
ballpark. But I think all are suggesting if you want to wear a mask, you wear
Everybody's
it. I bring
suggesting
one. I
if
have
you
one.
want
I've
to
worn
wear
it.
one.
And I think when I'm in certain settings like hospitals and various, or when I'm close, when you can't socially distance, I believe in it. Let's see, do
Here,
I?
he pulls
I
it
do.
out. He always has it now.
I
It's a
have
prop.
it. And if in certain instances, I think you really, I think you want to travel with a mask. There are instances where you really can use it. I would believe it would be.
It's funny. It's like he has no idea that the airlines mandate the mask. He's like, you would really want to travel with it.
Order today, it of course doesn't apply to federal properties, but would you encourage federal properties, and including the White House complex, to follow the order?
We're gonna make a decision over the next 24 hours. We'll let you know what that decision is. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
President Trump, do you agree with Senate Republicans discussing the possibility of extending short-term unemployment insurance
Will
today
he call on Caitlin Collins? He's already avoiding her, you can tell.
from expiring?
Well, I think a lot of politicians are discussing that, Republicans, Democrats, and right now a lot of my representatives are on the Hill. They're discussing CARES Act or Phase 4, whatever you want to call it. And I think ultimately something good will come out of it. The economy is starting to really come back strongly when you look at the numbers, even with the fact that, like, California is still closed up in many big states. I think the numbers are even more impressive considering that some states, like California, big ones,
California is kind of too
are
open, actually.
pretty well shut down. So we expect to have something over a period of time, over the appropriate period of time. Please,
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. These two questions are with Andrew Feinberg and J.C. Buell. One is, today you said you're sending federal law enforcement officers to run cities run by extreme politicians, that's the word you used, who happen to be all Democrats, who supported Black Lives Matter
Right.
protests.
I didn't
Millions
say,
of
I
Americans
didn't say
voted
who
for it.
supported. No, I said Democrat politicians, and these are the cities where you have the problem. If you look at Chicago, if you look at Detroit, if you look, I mean, look around any of these cities where we have the problems, and we're sending them help, but we're really waiting for them to call for the big help, for the big numbers, for the large numbers of people that we have ready, willing, and able.
Wow.
You look at Chicago, where 14 people were shot yesterday, where over the weekend many people died and many people were shot, and over the last month they're setting record numbers. We are waiting for the mayor, respectfully, and other mayors and governors to call us. We are ready, willing, and able to go in there with great force. Now, we also have people that are going in and arresting drug dealers, arresting some of the shooters that are doing the shooting. We know who they are. We're working with police forces, and even though in some cases they're told don't work with the federal
It's
government,
not
the
clear
police
he knows
forces
what they're doing.
have great respect for the federal government, what we do. But we're ready, willing, and able to go into these cities that are just being decimated with shooting, and we're going to help. Please.
I have a question on crime, but first, I don't think we really got an explanation yesterday on why the health experts are no longer joining you at these briefings. Can you explain why?
Because they're briefing me, I'm meeting them. I just spoke to Dr. Fauci. Dr. Birx is right outside.
He keeps her right
And,
outside
they're
the
giving
door.
me all of everything they know as of this point in time, and I'm giving the information to you. And I think it's probably a very concise way of doing it. It seems to be working out very well.
Okay, so on
But
crime.
they're very much involved. They're very much the relationships are all very good.
Everybody's
All
friends.
very good. The relationships that we have with the doctors, with everybody working on the virus has been, I think, extraordinary. Kaylee's here, and I think you would say the same thing. You work with them all
She'll
the
say
time.
whatever
Yeah,
you
go ahead,
want,
please.
sir.
So on crime, in 2016, you said it was President Obama's fault that homicides were up in Chicago. So why was it the president's fault then, but it's not your fault now?
Chicago is a disaster. The mayor is saying, don't come in. The mayor is telling us not to come in. At some point, we can void that if we have to, but we may have to at some, because it's out of control. I assume she's saying that for political reasons. I think it's negative political
Not an
reasons.
answer, my friend.
She's a Democrat. I'm going to be nice. She's a Democrat. She's making a big mistake. People are dying in Chicago and other cities, and we can solve the problem. They have to ask us, but we can solve the problem.
Why was it President Obama's fault in 2016? You credited it as him
Because
being
President
in office.
Obama was invited in, and he did a poor job. President Obama could have gone into Chicago. He could have solved the problem, and he didn't.
Wait, so
In our case,
It was
they don't
Obama's
want us
fault 'cause he
in.
was
We can solve the
invited in.
problem very easily. We're equipped with the best equipment, the best people, And you see what we're doing. I mean, Portland was coming down. It was busting at the seams. And we went in and protected all the federal buildings. Those federal buildings are totally protected.
It was busting.
And we had to do that. And Portland's a very different place than Chicago. But Chicago should be calling us, and so should Philadelphia and Detroit and others, to go in and really help them. Because when you're losing many people a weekend, many people, you see the same numbers as I do. When you're losing these people, they should call us and they should say, come on in. And it's incredible to me, but they're not doing it. At some point they will. At some point we may have no other choice but to go in. Jeff, please.
Mr. President, are you looking at closing further Chinese embassies in the United States? And did you ask Ambassador Woody Johnson to bring the British Open to your Turnberry property in Scotland?
No, I never spoke to Woody Johnson about that, about Turnberry. Turnberry is a highly respected course, as you know, one of the best in the world. And I read a story about it today, and I never spoke to Woody Johnson about doing that. No. As far as closing additional embassies, it's always possible. You see what's going on. We thought there was a fire in the one that we did close, and everybody said there's a fire, and I guess they were burning documents or burning papers, and I wonder what that's all about. Okay, how about one or two more, please?
Yes, thank you. Would you like to respond to Joe Biden, who today described you might have heard that, as the first racist to be elected president? That was his words.
Well, you know, it's interesting because we did criminal justice reform. We passed criminal justice reform, something that Obama and Biden were unable to do. We did opportunity cities. We did the greatest. If you look at what we've done with opportunity zones, nobody's ever even thought of a plan like that.
Nobody even thought about it.
Prior to the China plague coming into our country and really doing terrible things all over the world, doing terrible things, we had the best African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, almost every group was the best for unemployment. The unemployment numbers were the best.
What do you mean unemployment was low?
So you look at employment, you look at opportunity zones, and maybe most importantly, you look at criminal justice reform, you look at prison reform. I've done things that nobody else, and I've said this, and I say it openly, and not a lot of people dispute it. I've done more for Black Americans than anybody, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln.
There you go.
Nobody has even been close. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank
Ooh, Ghislaine Maxwell question. Jeez, oh my God. Hey, by the way, do you guys want to do a little Ghislaine Maxwell thing? Because I've got a little something prepared for that. This is for tomorrow's show. I'll show it to you guys. If you're headed out, please do remember, if you're watching on Twitch, just hit the follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. It's free. You'll be notified of my next stream, which I very much appreciate. But let me do just a little Ghislaine Maxwell stuff for you, okay? Check this out. Yesterday, Trump was asked about Ghislaine Maxwell, and here's what he had to say, okay? Take a listen to this.
If it spends by the time you get it back, it's 3 or 4 days if they do an efficient job. We're trying to get the testing on site.
Thank you.
I like it the best.
And my follow-up, my second question, it's a little bit different topic, but it's one that a lot of people are talking about. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and so a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly.
Okay, so I wish her well is weird, but there's something else I want to show you.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Let me show you guys a little something, okay? This is an this is a commercial, but this is an interview from 2015. Listen to what Trump says unprovoked about Jeffrey Epstein and Andrew. Okay, take a listen to this, my friends.
But I have to tell you, they were very rough on Mrs. Bush. That was tough stuff. That was nasty.
You think it was over the line?
I don't know because I don't know her, but it was nasty.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it.
Oh, interesting. Wait a second. Just ask. If you want to know, the guy to ask would be Prince. Wait a second. Hold on a second. But I could have sworn he just said he doesn't know anything about Prince Andrew. It sure sounded pretty certain about the Prince Andrew connection back in 2015. So listen, there's two possibilities. Neither of them is good. Either Trump was lying yesterday when he says he doesn't know anything about Prince Andrew in connection with Epstein, or his brain really is mush. And, there are people around the White House who anecdotally have said Trump doesn't remember anything and he's having a memory issue. So I don't know which of the two it is. Neither is good. Neither is good, I think, is the absolutely clear thing at this point that we should that we should be understanding. So I'm going to have more coverage of that tomorrow. And I know it's also very weird to be asked, what do you think about this serial accused child sex trafficker? And go, well, I wish her well. I really wish her well. That's the big thing. That is absolutely crazy. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow as well, certainly. So that's going to do it for me. Let's raid Hassan if we are over on Twitch. We've not done a raid of Hassan for a very, very long time. We will otherwise just be rapping on all of our other very explosive platforms. And I may be back tomorrow. Remember, on the way out, grab those free YouTube subscriptions. It's just the subscribe button. That's all it is. Make sure you're following over on Twitch. And I will see all of you very, very soon.